how to get a business credit card for a startup. So many of you have no idea how the financial services work, especially when it comes to credit. And I'm going to say your credit and your credit score, your corporate credit is part of your entire infrastructure in building a foundation that's going to be sustainable. I have been very consciously doing this now for really probably 40 years, and my corporate credit is phenomenal. Every company that you own, so say you own an LLC, an S Corp, and a C Corp, and there's you. Well, you don't just get the credit cards. Each of these companies get credit cards in their own tax identification number. So now you have 4 sources. So just when people say, oh, I can't find money, credit is so expensive. Money is expensive right now. Interest rates are in the 5, 6, 7%, depending on what you're wanting to get. That's expensive compared to what it used to be. So now you just have to do a new math equation. Right? You're not going to fix it. You're not going to get it any lower. You just have to do a better math equation. So the reason we wanted to get separate cards is part of our, what do we call, finance for non-finance business owner structure. By having credit cards, and these say 3 companies using that as an example, and you have yours, and you may have 2 or 3, and you may have 2 or 3, 2 or 3, 2 or 3, but you'll have a primary card that you're going to use. So we're huge fans of American Express, the big banks, right? Chase, Citibank, Discover, the big ones. Those are the ones that are going to tie into the financial services, really call it a database. So the way they look at you and the way they look at your company is the amount of money you make, right? Because it's all very transparent. You can see your deposits, how much money you're making. So if your company's making $250,000, that's what you're putting in. Maybe you're spending $50,000 on credit cards, and then you're spending. The more active that routine becomes, the more money in, money out, the more credit viable you become, which means their credit limits are going to increase. So some of you are used to, living in the little hundreds and thousands. We're talking tens of thousands. We're talking hundreds of thousands for those of you who really become bigger business owners. So let's break it down. Why a credit card is the financial infrastructure, and you're going to put your debit cards away forever. Like there's got to be an emergency to pull that debit card out. Number 2, what do lenders really look for if you have a business startup? I have so many entrepreneurs that join us and say, I just started a new company. I'm not making enough money and I couldn't get a loan. There's lenders who will do it. It's a whole different strategy. Last thing we're going to talk about is how you use basically credit cards to access other people's money. And typically it's the bank's money, but there's other ways to use that strategy. So get a pen and paper and let's begin. So the reason credit cards are a huge part of your infrastructure, in my mind, it goes like this. You get your corporate structure, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. If you don't know what that is, go to askloral.com, ASKLORAL, ask for a one-on-one appointment, and we will talk to you about it. We're not going to tell you what you need. We're going to tell you it's part of a bigger integrated wealth solution. So up to chapter 3, we're going to give you the whole book. I want you to do a gap analysis. I want you to send it into the team, take a one-on-one appointment. So in the gap, we're going to start looking at where the gaps you have financially, how we can solve them. And not having enough corporate structure is usually a huge problem for people. And then if you do have a corporate structure, call it an LLC or an S Corp, you don't know how to use it properly. And then where you bank and where you get credit cards. So it's what kind of company, where you bank, where you get credit cards, put the debit card away. That's how we will help you get structured. So when it comes to bookkeeping inside your company, right, most people use QuickBooks. Some use Xero. There's a few other softwares. But either way, they will receive through an API. They can actually download the bank account so you can do your bank reconciliation, and they'll download the credit card. That gives you categorically spending, so you know what % of money you're spending for travel, for hotels, for supplies, for whatever is in your deduction line. It's also going to help you identify what is deductible and what's not. Our whole goal for you is to not have all your bills be paid personally when they can legally be paid by a company and their deductions. It's a huge difference. If you're like spending on cash, much more difficult to do the bookkeeping and the transactions. It also, again, back to the financial services world, it actually shows the flow of the money. Money comes in, money goes out, and it becomes very patterned and sustainable. As you grow, you just add another company, another bank account, another credit card, and you do that. Then you get your Dun & Bradstreet corporate credit goes right through the roof. So what do you need to qualify? Well, you're going to need a company. And then you want to put the company EIN to get a tax identification number into the application for the credit card. Do not use your social security number anymore. That you're just going to put that away too. So debit cards go away. Your personal information goes away. You're going to operate inside corporate life. If you need to understand more about it, I teach a workshop. It's online. It goes from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock once a month. It's called the Millionaire Intensive. I want you to join. I'm going to give you 2 tickets in the show notes below. Grab those tickets and come learn what it means to live corporate life. And if you haven't figured out why you want to put the debit cards away, is because if anything happened, any sort of expense, any sort of whatever you bought, the bank's never going to defend you. The credit card companies will. In fact, some of the bigger banks that I just suggested earlier, they'll actually give you your money back while they go fight the dispute. So credit cards actually have a 30-day window of using someone else's money, typically the banks, whether it's Chase, whether it's American Express, whether it's Citibank. You have 30 days of free money to use, and they will help be some what I'm going to call liability protection to help you. A debit card, money straight out of your bank account, you're done. You're never going to get it back. I would say it's very, very rare if you ever get that back. What you need to actually get the credit cards again is about you need the entity, you need a bank account, you need your EIN number. In the Millionaire Maker, I teach you how to start doing a lot of this, which entity would be best suited for what industry you're in. So grab this. Also grab the Cash Machine book. You can grab that at our store. That's in the link below. And the Cash Machine will start also digging deeper into what kind of company depending on the industry. Now, again, I want you here 5 days a week. Subscribe to my channel, click the notification button, and share this channel with your friends. If you want, this weekend, why don't you binge watch? So if you binge watch up to 25 hours of this channel through the link, because we can track it, then we'll send you $750. Actually, to your file, we will have on file that you've earned $750 of credit towards a new tuition as you decide to lean in and learn more. Last thing I want to talk about, how do you actually use credit to your advantage, right? How to use it as a lever instead of a crutch. Number one, pay it off every month because that's 0%. There's no reason you would need to do that. So that means your revenues need to supersede by far your credit card bill. Now, I have folks that actually have really understood point systems, like all the credit cards typically come with points, rewards, all the things. They literally can take all of their business trips on points and rewards because you're strategically using those cards. Like look at the Platinum American Express or some of the larger opportunity cards. They may cost a little per year to use, but the advantage of them is enormous. For travel, again, just buying awards, you can actually send people gifts from there. It's going to affect your credit history, your corporate credit history, your ability to get money. So let's talk about lending. That's the last thing I want to talk about in this, because a lot of you think, well, if I put all my expenses out, and a lot of them, I'm going to take them out of my personal, put them into the companies strategically. And we'll do that for you with bookkeepers and high-level tax strategists. You don't know how to do that, we'll do all that. So as you start spending properly for proper deductions, what's going to happen if you want to go get a loan and you're not paying yourself at least a small W-2 or even a small W-2, some lenders are going to say you don't qualify. And so what you need to start asking lenders is, what do I need to qualify? So what you'll do is you'll show your tiny paycheck, because we don't want you making a lot of W-2 money, and then you show your P&L. And they say, well, it's not enough. So then you might go to a real estate investment company and show that P&L. So you're not going to show everything. You're only going to show what the lender needs. So it's just a different conversation that you're not used to having because you're not trained. So it's, again, why I want you here 5 days a week. I want you to ask questions all day long, as much as they come up. Go to askloral.com, ASKLORAL, ask questions, make requests, and we'll be back tomorrow.